Coming up next on Access Framingham, The Jungle, as we visit Peru with my guest, Framingham author Erica Ferencik. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Jack Barron, host of Travels with Jack, here on Access Framingham TV, where guests share with our audience a recent trip, a vacation, a cruise, or maybe a day trip right here in New England. You'll see their photos and hear about the exciting places they have visited. I'm very pleased to welcome Framingham resident and author Erica Ferencik to gather information for her latest novel, which was published in May 2019. Erica spent 3+ weeks in the jungles of Peru. She's here on Travels with Jack, alive and well, to talk to us about her new book and the sights and sounds of the Peruvian jungle. What parts of the world have you visited? Please be my guest on Travels with Jack and share your travel experience with our viewing audience. Just contact us here at Access Framingham Television and let us know you'd like to be a guest. You can phone AFTV at 508-875-5434, or you can send an email message to info@accessfram.tv. Our associate producer will contact you to make arrangements for you to be on our show here on Access Framingham TV. If you don't live in Massachusetts, we would be pleased to assist with your travel to the Access Framingham studio. Now, I want to welcome Erica to Travels with Jack.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
My pleasure. A big author. We don't get a big author every day. But let me read to our guests on TV a little bit about Erica. She lives in Framingham and has for 20 years. She's married to George, quote unquote, love of her life, who is a healthcare administrator. And she has 2 stepchildren and is a very delighted grandmother of a 4-year-old. Erica is and has been a professional writer for more than 30 years. She is an accomplished ghostwriter, editor, and novelist. And I'm going to read a little bit a professional bio she received. And Oprah Winfrey chose Erica, her debut novel, The River at Night, hold that up, Erica, as a #1 Oprah pick, calling the book the page-turning novel you've been waiting for, a heart-pounding debut. And Entertainment Weekly named it as a must-read and calls the novel harrowing, a visceral white-knuckle rush. Her new novel, beautiful, Into the Jungle, a one-woman's terrifying journey of survival in the Bolivian Amazon, will be released in May 2019. Her work has appeared in Salon and the Boston Globe, as well as on National Public Radio, and Miramax has recently optioned The River at Night for a film. I can do bit parts.
We need a guy just like you, Jack. You are in luck.
I can put makeup, I'll be Peruvian.
There you go.
Erica is a hiker. I love their chicken, by the way. Erica is a hiker and a whitewater rafter and an animal lover. And some of the hiking and rafting will be was featured in her first Simon & Schuster published novel, The River at Night book. Erica has college degrees in both fine arts and creative writing. So for those of you parents whose kids want to go into those fields, and
Don't do it. Don't do it. Just
well,
really, I mean.
you can see she carried her college goals into her life and has a lifetime achievement with her first big novel and now the second one and a movie rights agreement. So I told her that she had fulfilled her youthful dreams. So there's a little bit of bio. You're an interesting guest. I'm thrilled to have you. And tell me a little bit, how did you decide I'm going to go to Peru, and how did you get there?
Well, I'm a believer in doing a lot of research for my books. I started out doing research for The River at Night, remembering my whitewater rafting experiences, and so on and so forth. And you can Google anything. But I wanted to... I wanted to live it. So for this book, well, not that we're going to talk about that so much.
No, we can talk.
Okay. So I took a 9-day trip to the Allagash Wilderness, and I interviewed people who live off the grid, because there's a couple of characters in here who do that. And that was pretty terrifying. I did that in the winter of, 2015 by myself. And I met some real characters who lived
it gave you inspiration.
And it gave me inspiration. So then, going into this book, again, there's always Google, and I read dozens of books. I interviewed a lot of people, but I thought, okay, buck up and go there, because
so this was really a research project.
It was a research project. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it was I wouldn't call it a vacation so much, but sure there were elements, but mostly it was research. Yeah.
So you went to Peru. There's our map.
Yes,
How did you get there? Did you go through lovely Venezuela? Or,
I didn't go through lovely Venezuela, although I have been to Venezuela before. I flew from Boston to Miami.
Okay.
Okay, Miami to Lima, and then I took a plane from Lima to Iquitos, Iquitos. It's a landlocked village on the Amazon. You can only get there by plane or river. And from there...
This
that's
is the river?
That's a shot from the plane.
Going into Iquitos?
Actually...
No?
Yes, no, that is going into Iquitos.
Okay. And how did you pick Iquitos?
Iquitos. Well, I picked it because in the course of trying to find out... the Amazon River Basin is as wide as the United States. It encompasses 9 countries.
Really?
It is the most biodiverse region on Earth. So for me to say I went to South America or I went to the Amazon, it's like saying I went to the United States, know. So let's slow down the pictures, because...
Go ahead. Tell me what this is.
All right. So this is the lodge I stayed at. This is Amazonia Expeditions, a wonderful lodge built in the late 80s, but always rehabbed. And you can see that everything is built on stilts, because the river floods 35 feet every year. So it goes from a community that can have access to land and hunting and fishing to one where, I don't know, a visual might be, if you look at a flood map, you see these floods on television, all you see are the buildings. So I was there between wet and dry season.
Who recommended this to you? How did you find this particular lodging place?
Well, I talked to people and asked people, and
and they said,
and I finally found this guy. He's like, well, I went on this great trip, and I said, can we have coffee? Because frankly, I was, it's a very, very, there are a lot of, I wouldn't call it dangerous, but it's a extreme. It's like another world. It's another world.
When this show comes up on YouTube, because you can see Travels with Jack on YouTube. Yeah. People who are thinking of going to the Amazon are going to look at this.
And let me tell you, Amazonia Expeditions was amazing. These boots, okay, you never go on terra firma, you never walk on terra firma with sandals or anything like that. You wear these boots because there can be anything on the ground. Snakes, scorpions, tarantulas, or
now, they gave you these.
They gave us these boots. Number one, you never go in the jungle alone. Absolutely never. Not that you would think of doing that, but you always wear those boots. Everyone's assigned a guide. I was assigned my own guide, Adrian. who was a wonderful person, very patient,
Spoke good English?
great English.
Oh, really? Okay.
He grew up in the Amazon. He started hunting at 11 years old.
Now, he's a Peruvian?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was at my side for 3 sections of time a day, morning, afternoon, and evening. We did some sort of journey. I think except for one night I said, look, I just want to stay in the lodge and drink warm beer. And that's what I did, because it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot.
Absolutely, especially when they get you up early in the morning.
Get you up early in the morning.
So he toured you, just you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, there were many days when it was just me.
Really? Okay. Here he is. Here's a video.
He is calling river wolves. Let's listen. Can we hear it?
A little bit.
I can't
What are
hear it.
river wolves?
Well, we have otters in the United
Yes.
States. The Amazonian version are 7 feet long and vicious.
Oh.
Everything in the Amazon is bigger than here.
I want you to know
Everything
my little
grows outside.
2-year-old granddaughter calls them aqua dogs.
Aqua dogs, that's what they are. They're river wolves, and they. I
So
think
she'd
there's
have
a
to
shot
call
that
them
they.
aqua wolves. Okay, I'll let her know.
Yeah, there's a shot. I think
It'll
it's
come
the
up.
next shot. Oh, we're trying to hear them again. That's cool. We're looking for the video.
Now, this is
Oh,
you
well.
coming out of the water.
Well, no, I did not swim. I was cleaning off my jungle boots.
Yeah.
There were people, super brave people
Who went swimming?
yeah,
Why,
I
what
just,
did they tell you is in the water?
well, I think I feel like I know too much. Then again, the indigenous population and local population swim all the time. I just didn't want to.
That's okay.
I didn't
We
want
won't hold
to.
it against you.
Yeah, I had some experiences which I'll go into. This is a shot from the boat of a part of a town.
I don't go swimming in Bar Harbor, Maine in the ocean.
I don't swim,
It's
period.
too cold for me. Oh,
Here's a shot of a river wolf.
oh they do. They look
okay.
like a regular otter.
Yes, except it's 7 feet long. Not that it will come and attack you, but they are a lot of fun to watch, playing together, and
Do they eat them?
I think they do eat them. I
Okay.
think they are hunted, although they are endangered, like almost everything
Oh.
in the Amazon. This is a 4-eyed fish. This is a fish with 2 sets of eyes. On top you see it can
Yeah.
hunt for insects, and below it hunts for minnows. Animals in the Amazon have had 55 million years to adapt to hunting. It's another shot of a 4-eyed fish. So
Isn't that
there
amazing?
are stunning creatures
Now,
out
who's
there.
this young lady?
So we had guides. I just want to say that there were female guides as well. And they were just as amazing and skilled as she's sharpening her machete on a river stone. Every guide carries a machete. Every guest carries a machete into the jungle.
Now, when you mentioned this, go ahead. I'll get with this.
So this is a little owl that was outside my room.
cute.
A baby. It looks small, but it was probably more like.
And what is Amazon Expeditions? Is that an American travel agency that
Yes.
helped put this together for you?
Yes. Dr. Paul Beaver,
Okay.
back in the 80s, he's a biologist, established this place. And I believe it's the oldest or one of the oldest.
So Amazon Expedition is the name of the resort. I call it.
It's the name. It's the name of the
lodging
lodge.
place.
Let's call it a
Okay,
lodge.
I got you.
And there's the Amazon Expeditions, and beyond that, another half a day is the Research Lodge, which is, well, first of all, Amazonia Expeditions is 100 miles down from Iquitos. So
Okay.
I was on a 7-hour boat trip
to there.
to there, and then spent several weeks, and then I went to the Research Lodge, which was amazing. There were biologists specializing in rare monkeys, and anyway, it's
Oh,
great.
so this is a whole
Thing.
facility.
It's a whole.
Oh, there's one of the rare monkeys.
So there I am with Adrian. No, actually, these were woolly monkeys that were they were hurt or something, so they were raised, but then they were trying to set them free, but they every time we went by, they jumped in the boat. They were kind of large and scary, and Adrian said, "Don't laugh, and don't scream. Don't show your teeth. I'm just showing. Look at the grippiness of their tail. Isn't that amazing? It sort of shows how they."
And they like to come in and out of the boat.
For bananas.
Oh, for
And Adrian, was.
Oh, wow, what is that?
That's a pink dolphin.
Wow.
This is a boti dolphin. They are ascribed magical properties by indigenous populations.
Beautiful.
They are said to turn into seductive women and seduce men into the encante, the enchanted underworld. This is a rubber tree. Many of your viewers, and you probably know about the rubber tree, the indigenous population who 80% of them were decimated. Can we stop for a second? I really want to talk about this one tree. It's called a walking tree. We're going really fast. In the 1912, 1915 time, the indigenous population, rubber was a big thing.
Yep.
So they were used to extract the rubber from these trees, but once someone figured out you could take the seeds and plant them elsewhere, the whole industry died. But it left great scars with all the population across the Amazon. This tree, okay, is called a walking tree. Can we go back one?
It's hard to go back.
Okay,
but
so
go ahead,
that's
tell
a
me about
walking
the-
tree.
Yep.
Why does it walk? See, it has legs.
Yep.
As the trees around it grow and cut off its sun,
Yep.
it sprouts another leg.
Oh, and it walks.
And it walks.
Oh,
Okay,
I love
very
that.
slowly.
Yeah.
But actually, plants grow extremely quickly in the Amazon. Everything changes very quickly in the Amazon.
I
so
love
the leg,
that.
and so the leg that has no shade sort of shrinks up, and it can be there 1 week, and the next week can be 5 feet over.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Well, maybe a month.
I got
not a
you,
week.
but
okay.
that's
So
interesting.
look closely. Here's an illustration why you never touch anything when you're hiking in the Amazon. You never touch anything in the jungle. In the woods around here, it's different. You know, you can lean on things, you can touch things, but this is a leg of the walking tree. Tribes still use these as clubs. They use these to grate manioc or grate tubers. They use these as tools. This is
George did not go with you on this.
No.
Okay.
This is a lupuna tree. I'll talk more about it. There's a lot of pictures of lupuna
That's
trees.
all right.
It's a sacred tree. Here I am.
With a nest, it looks like.
Those termite nests are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. They're enormous. That's actually a small version of them.
I know they can be huge. I remember this from Africa, these huge nests.
Right, and so the queen termite is around 4 or 5 inches long, and they say that I took a jungle survival course. I did not graduate. It's a funny story, but the queen termite is 4 or 5 inches long, and if you're starving in the jungle,
That's what you eat?
You can cut that sucker down, and you can eat that. It's full of protein and fats.
Has Oprah asked you to write a diet book, including
Well,
including your termite
That's a
diet?
hilarious idea. Yeah, all termites all the time. Yeah, I mean,
Your new Erica's high protein diet featuring 4-inch queen termites. All right.
and you can also crush the termites and put them on your skin as a mosquito repellent.
Really?
Yes. When crushed, they exude a chemical that works better than off. I didn't do it. This is, we took a whole day to find poison frogs. They're very, very deep into the jungle. And you see that I'm wearing, I'm fully covered, not because it's cold, but because
to protect yourself.
myself. And
we had a guest who was recently in Costa Rica, and I remember she mentioned to me also the poison frogs.
Poison frogs.
So they must be common in
Yeah.
these climates.
Well, again, everything's threatened. Everything's threatened.
Is this a frog?
This is a poison frog.
Yep.
Every 10 seconds, 2 football fields worth of the rainforest is decimated.
Really?
Okay. And this provides,
Is that you?
that is me.
Okay.
Standing next to, I'm just trying to show the scale of, that's a fallen tree. And inside it's like it's a bat cave. And you could walk through it. I did not have the cojones to walk through that.
That's okay.
This is a cicada, like home. They come up every 7 years. They come out every 7 years, and they're deafening. But that's their little home. Those cones are everywhere in the forest.
They're what, a bug? An
A
insect?
cicada. I may be saying it wrong.
No, that's all right. I just may not be familiar with it.
It's a bug, huge bug.
Okay.
And they're very loud.
Oh, look at this. What a great picture.
These are owl monkeys.
Oh, wow.
And I tell you, I did the best I could with my camera, but Adrian was taking most of these pictures.
These are great. I love that.
Yeah, they were just, okay, so this is
Look at this. Wow.
a lupuna tree. Lupuna trees are sacred in tribal lore. People pray near them. You can even build a little shelter
Looks a
using
little like
them
President Trump's hair.
well, we won't go there. Too much of a compliment to President Trump's hair. That's just a frog.
Okay.
I just liked it.
These shots are fabulous.
Thank you. That's a tree rat. They're pretty big.
Really?
It's a tree rat. Yeah.
Now, did you bring in some of these little animals in your new book? Do you talk about these?
Yeah, I do. You know,
okay.
One of the biggest struggles I had with the book was I'm so in love, obviously, with the Amazon and wildlife that's a sloth.
Oh, okay. I'm
So,
familiar with those.
very hard to photograph because see how he blends in?
I do. I think that we saw those in India, believe it or
And
not.
sloths, true to their name or true to their reputation, they sleep most of their life. They die in their sleep.
Oh, really?
They can. Their fur is filled. It's with algae because they never move or very rarely move. Their head can move 90 degrees while their body stays
And
still.
what do they eat? The leaves and stuff?
They eat the leaves. I love eucalyptus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Here I am pretending I'm brave about to try to do the zip line, which is absolutely terrifying because, we went, here I am smiling before my death. And the zip line was great. I mean, I really love this company because they're very professional with everything they do.
And the zip line took you how far, how long?
It was probably not that good with distances, but 50 feet up into the canopy.
Really?
And it was the most amazing experience to look out and not see a building, you're in thousands of miles of jungle. That's an aguaje tree. Aguaje is one of the most popular fruits, flavoring ice cream, lots of candy. You can't see it. We'll get a better picture. That's a dugout canoe. There are 14,000 miles of river in the Amazon.
Amazing.
The most common mode is a plain old dugout canoe with a little motor. That's El Chino. This is a typical river town.
This is fabulous, though, that you remember all the names and everything.
Yeah, well, I've been living it for 3 years.
Wow, I'm impressed.
This is Adrian, very happy because...
Oh, he went with you everywhere.
Everywhere. So they're building a new school. So he was being happy that... And your money, amazing. It's amazing because I'm not trying to sell it to you, but I mean... Your $1 is $5 there. I mean, you can buy so much and go so far. They needed a clinic. They're building a clinic. Here he is.
Now, are they church related at all, the building of these clinics?
No, not at all. So here he is.
Because one of our guests who's very connected with Tanzania, Africa, his group builds, along with the churches, schools, healthcare centers, recreation centers.
So what you're saying...
They do fabulous work.
So their organization that does that is called Angels of the Amazon.
Oh, there is such a group.
And it was established by Paul and Dolly Beaver. Dolly is
Peruvian.
Peruvian.
The same people who began this.
Yes.
Okay.
And Dolly is Peruvian. And they met, fell in love, married in the 80s and started this. And so it's called Angels of the Amazon. Wonderful, wonderful place.
So that's the
kids,
philanthropic arm of their research institute.
Right.
Okay.
He was just showing a roof. Everything is from the jungle. So Adrian was demonstrating those roofs go from green to brown as they dry out. They're often switched out because they have a lifespan, because insects go in there, and what eats insects? Snakes,
Yep.
bats, scorpions. I wish I spoke Spanish. It was very frustrating. Thank goodness I had Adrian to translate, but there were times that I just really wanted to.
Now, is this like his little sister or just
No, we're just walking around.
Okay.
We're just hanging out. This is the papaya plant. Okay, so I think there's another picture. Yeah, see that? It's papaya, and they use it to, the women make these beautiful, I didn't bring anything with me, but
That's okay.
these beautiful plates, these beautiful objects. Everything is from the forest. So there I am. I've just put some papaya on my face or something. And they use everything from the forest to color their clothing. Absolutely beautiful stuff. They really know what they're doing. This is a school.
Yep.
Yep. And that's actually the beginning stages of making hats, plates,
okay.
objet d'art, little art objects for tourists to come. I wanted to buy everything, but unfortunately I couldn't. And people,
look at this.
And people are like so sweet. They're so kind. They let you, come in their house and kind of look at how they live. I was taking pictures of their kitchen. Okay. This was in the main, can we hang on this for 1 second? The top fish is called a pirarucu. It is the largest freshwater fish in the world at over 7 feet. It's endangered. People, these are quotas. In other words, you can only fish out a certain number of each of these kinds of fish. Sometimes people break those rules. The rules can be broken if your family's hungry, but you're not supposed to do it and resell it. You can only resell a couple of...
Is the water considered, how do I put it, drinkable or?
You do not drink the water ever. It is full of microorganisms, and you can boil it.
But the fish you can eat from it.
You can totally eat the fish.
I'm surprised because the water wouldn't be so good.
The water is very clean.
Oh, it is?
It's it's clean in the way you're talking about. It's not, I'm sure pollution is everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't say it's not. But
you don't drink that water?
No,
Okay.
you do not.
All right.
I'm on my way to see a shaman. There I am. Okay.
Oh, okay. You're going to have a magical spell put on you? Or?
I had a wonderful time with him. Here he is. This is Adolfo. He met with me. I interviewed him for a couple of hours. He was wonderful. He was.
I know your book is fictional, but do you have someone like him?
There are a few shamans in my book.
Oh, okay.
And not exactly like him at all. There's a female shaman in my book. Here he is. He's showing his all of the things he has made from the forest. The bottle closest to us is ayahuasca. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's a hallucinogenic drug, extremely famous around the world.
No, I'm sure in Massachusetts it'll be legal in a year.
Yeah, well, it's pretty intense. It's intense, and I did not indulge because I was not. It's a typical house in the Amazon. You see, it's on stilts because, again, the water actually comes up that high. And when it comes up that high, people get around on boats.
It's so different, this particular landscape, than like Machu Picchu is what I always think of when I think of Peru.
Yeah, this is another world.
Yeah,
this
which
is
I mean, more rock and stuff.
There he is with his granddaughter.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
No, we're at sea level. You got to understand, Machu Picchu is
in the mountains.
Is 16,000 feet.
Yeah.
At the highest point, it's base level of Everest. That's what I did.
Oh, you got telephone service.
No, the joke here is that there's one phone in 500 miles and it's broken. And there's no, cell service was.
Did they? Oh, they did have some cell service.
Well, the story was they did.
Yeah.
But what happens with the jungle, everything is always growing. And so the time that I was there, it was kind of hard because I called my husband from the Amazon when I first got there, and I got through. And I said, honey, I'll call you when I get to the lodge.
Oh, and you never called him back?
And I couldn't talk to him for 3 days, 4 days. And
he was a little worried.
He said, these were the worst days of my life, and mine is, and I said, so I kept meeting people who were doing 1-day trips, and I said, go to Iquitos, email my husband and tell him I'm all right. But he went through a really rough
Oh, that's
patch.
interesting that,
Yeah.
we take it for granted today.
We sure do.
That wherever, I've been in the middle of nowhere and the phone rings, Jack,
Yeah.
and I go, how'd you get me?
I know. And you're
nowhere.
standing in the one spot that in a million miles, there's
No, in fact, it strikes me that you can be in places that you wouldn't think you would have
Right.
service, and there's service.
Well, I was shocked. Actually, I did it as a lark. I was on the boat. I was like, wouldn't it be a hoot if I actually,
Got a hold of George.
Got a hold of George. So just more cute kids.
More
I got
kids.
a soft spot. What can I say? And, working on getting them better health care.
What did you find for the food as you were? And you can, if more pictures come up,
We'll go back and forth. I didn't.
Yeah.
I should have, but I didn't take a picture of beautiful food via Amazonia Expeditions.
Really?
3 meals a day, and not only are there a lot of the food is from the jungle,
Yep.
beautifully presented. It's almost like going to a gourmet restaurant.
Really? So what kind of items did you find?
Well, I guess for proteins, like a lot of chicken, fish, eggs. If people had been fishing that day, they would prepare the fish. The day that I went fishing, they prepared I caught a bunch of piranha.
They eat piranha?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Really?
Yes, they do.
Is this a piranha?
Speak of the devil. Yeah, that's a piranha.
I didn't know you eat them.
Yep, they're just plain old fish with big teeth that have the habit of
Well, don't they eat people and stuff too?
eating your face off if you.
Yeah.
No. So they smell blood in the water, and they eat. They're carnivorous.
Yeah.
Yes, and so if you have a cut or something, I wouldn't say go in the water.
Yeah.
This is a storm approaching that I was on the boat with Adrian. He was spearfishing, and you could hear it. You could hear it 5 minutes before it came, because your sense of scale is so different. Your sense of perception of how far things are away. Usually, you have your buildings or some marker, but there's no marker. So. It was wonderful being in a place like that, having that feeling of being so far away. Those are the aguaje, the fruit I was telling you about. They're in the bowl, they're softening so that we can peel them. And the inside is bright orange, and it tastes like ginger, sage.
So you liked them?
Yeah. Okay, hold on just a second. That's a snake skin.
Oh.
Hanging from the ceiling of a walkway of the lodge. So what does that tell you? That's a 9-foot snakeskin. So whatever shed that needed to be larger than 9 feet and was living in the lodge. And guess what? That's what you kind of have to watch out for. Like, you don't just mindlessly run your hands along the railing as you wake. I mean, like before coffee, I'd do anything, right? So you just have to be careful of what you're touching and what is above you and beneath you. Here I am, I'm chilling out in the hammock and this is just another shot.
Did you meet with other guests?
Oh my God, people came from all over the world.
All over the world.
Oh my, just wonderful people. I just name a continent and they were there.
And about how many other people would you say were at this
Let's see.
lodge while you were there?
They kept cycling in and out, but I think capacity was probably 21 or something.
So it's a small group.
It's a small group.
Okay.
I don't want to be wrong. Sorry, Amazonia
No, that's
Expeditions. I'm
okay.
wrong.
But you'd say it was generally a small group of people.
Well, so a family would come in, a couple. There were a lot of single women travelers. I was happy about that.
And would you say it was an expensive trip?
No. For 3 meals a day, for my own guide, to myself. I won't quote prices, but go on the website and you can see that,
So in a general approximation.
All right, so probably $100 a day for
Okay, so-
everything.
So very, very reasonable price.
Yeah, and just
So our viewers who were watching the show today, they
It
could
wasn't
do this
crazy.
trip.
yeah.
You're saying they could do a 7-8 day trip, maybe $1,000
That's exactly right.
That's great.
You know, and just if you can kind of, and I think you might get a slight discount on flights through Amazonia.
I got you, but just for that, I mean, you can't go to any hotels
no,
for that.
you can't. What is that? 2 nights in
I mean,
New York City?
3 meals a yeah.
3 meals a day.
Well, in New York City without the food, unless you're eating Sabre hot dogs.
Like a bagel. And
all right, these are.
Okay, so I'm not an ornithologist. These are just pictures of birds.
Yep.
Those are eagles of some kind. It's a pair. There were so many birds. This is the laundry.
That's good to hear because, you know, birds are in limited supply in many areas.
This is the most, there were over 600 species of birds. The most,
wow.
Again, the most biodiverse region for animals, birds, insects, and plants. This little guy, big guy, was living in the laundry tent. As the women were washing the clothes, they're like, la, 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 just, because he's not interested in them. He's interested in the mice that live up there, you know? Okay, night canoe. This was the most terrifying for me. When we took these little canoes into the floating forest, you see the water is sort of up to the waist of trees, and it's like a brown soup, and it is filled with creatures. As we were going,
are you going to narrate in the film if they do the movie?
I guess
love the way
so.
you say, and it's loaded with creatures.
Well, we were floating along, and an electric eel jumped out of the water, and I don't know what that is.
Nest. It's a nest.
It just looks so weird. I just took a picture. I have no idea what that is. That is a pink-toed tarantula about as big as my hand.
Oh, okay.
I saw that on a night trip.
Oh, interesting. Pink toad, like the.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they jump, so you don't want to get too close.
Okay.
That's sap from a rubber tree.
Yes, I was going to say it looks like rubber sap.
And like they would collect it. The indigenous people would collect it. It's very arduous to collect.
Do they use it at all for their own purposes?
Well,
or they just sell it?
During the time that they were being enslaved and murdered to collect it, they weren't using it for their purposes. Other than the fact, they were savvy enough to create a kind of sandal with them.
Oh, okay.
They created the bottom of a sandal. So yeah, they used rubber for their own purposes. That's me just kind of screwing around.
So you're telling me there's a colonial history of these people being enslaved to what? To white, the rubber plants mainly?
To the rubber barons.
Okay.
They're European and American. These are just weird little spores that I took a picture of. I mean, these are holes in which I don't remember the name of the creature that lives in them, but I thought they were very weird looking. This is the pet monkey of the shaman.
Oh, okay.
His name was Gasparin, and he was just an amazing looking creature.
Is that a tail I'm seeing on
That's
him?
a tail. So remember I was talking about termites?
Yes.
Okay, so they tend to, I mean, that can happen in a couple of weeks. And so that light does not work. Why? Because of the growth of that thing interrupting. So the jungle is always the boss. This is just a woman who kindly let me into her house. She's preparing armored catfish for dinner. They're amazing creatures. They're very prehistoric looking. And let's see, you can see them by her feet. That's a shot. I'm trying to show these are gourds that grow on trees. People use them to make cups, bowls, beautiful pieces of artwork, very useful plant. These are the armored catfish.
Oh, that's what they call them, armored. They almost look like they have an alligator skin.
They are amazing looking. They live in holes in the riverbank.
Do they use their skins at all for leather goods or?
I'm not quite sure about that.
Okay.
They certainly use different parts of animals for different things. We're going to see a shot of a pile of, this is a bee, not nest, but help me out.
Well, like
a beekeeper thing.
Trays of bees.
And this is in the woman's house.
Oh.
So these bees are flying.
Honey.
Yeah, there's just like this thing on the bottom, this tray. She pulls
collects the honey.
Yeah, and it's like they live in her house. It was amazing. These are the tongues of the pirukuru, the 7-foot fish that are used for weapons, to grate food.
These are what, the spines, you're saying?
The tongue. It's a
Oh,
bony
the
tongue.
tongue.
Yes, it's a bony tongue that these creatures have. These fish do not look like fish that you think of that are on your plate
That's the tongue.
at Dolphin Seafood. They are
Interesting.
very
Okay.
different looking animals. This is a gentleman who's building his own house from wood from the forest. You can build a house here for a couple $1,000.
Yep.
And he is doing it. That is a log that when the river rises has been
Drifted down the river.
drifted down, but it's cut to be used and to be made into a canoe.
Did you see a lot of boats along this river? Did there seem to be a lot of commerce, so to speak, or
What-
transportation?
There was, I think, pretty much 100% were dugout canoes and just river people in river communities fishing
Okay.
for their dinner. Well, that's it. There were motorboats.
This is
Amazonia
a,
Expeditions
like
has.
a stork or something.
Again, I don't know their names, but they were just so striking. You know how like you take a walk in the woods and you see an amazing bird and it makes your day and all
Yep.
that. Well, on a trip like this, every other minute you see something that
Unique.
it just blows your mind.
Oh, another pretty bird.
There's just so many birds, so many birds. Again, I don't know their names. This is the aguaje again. Things are a little out of order here.
That's all right. No, these are. Oh,
That's like
see, I love
that's a
the bird
kingfisher.
pictures.
Oh,
'cause
you do.
know,
You're a bird guy. That's a kingfisher. Those were everywhere.
I don't know any of their names, but I just think they're beautiful to look at.
This one would fish, and we'd like, oh my God, I can't even believe it can fly with the size of fish it has hanging out of its mouth. And they're just fearless. They're just always in front of your boat, diving and swimming. So, another one. Look at that.
Yeah, the
Wouldn't that
colours-
make your
the
day if you
colours are
saw
beau-
that? I mean,
Yes.
you're just like everywhere.
The colors are beautiful. Look at the beak on.
Yeah. Well, again, for the moment, your point was good earlier. Like they don't hear a lot of motors. I mean, you might hear the Amazonia Expedition boat, but there's a lot of real quiet, which you don't have in this world, to find a real quiet place. That said, the jungle, I'm going to contradict myself and say the jungle never shuts up. Whether it's insects, frogs,
Oh, I'm sure there's always noise.
there's always noise, but it's, quote, natural noise. It's,
Yeah.
howler monkeys, frogs, cicadas. That tree is full of fire ants. So it seems like the most lovely things in the jungle are the most dangerous. It's another reason you just don't go picking a plant. These are day bats, the only bat in the world that shows up during the day.
Where, those
and
little
hunts.
tiny things on the tree?
Those are day bats. Yep.
Really? Okay.
I think the next shot is a close-up. Oh, that's where the armored catfish live. That's where they lay their nests in the river. That's where they lay their eggs. So and you never put your hand in a
No,
hole.
I don't think I would.
I mean, and you check your boots every morning and you keep your door closed. But in any case, yeah, that's a day bat up close. It's about as big as your hand. It's not big.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, it's a little guy.
That looks like
That's
a
a
hawk.
massive hawk. I don't
Yeah.
know like what I was seeing, but he was really hunting.
Yeah.
He was busy.
He's got a scary face, actually.
That's a wasp's nest. It's hard to you can't see how huge that is. That's like 9 feet long, and diameter is probably 1.5 feet, and it's crawling with wasps.
And that's all a nest. That's not
It's a
like an
nest.
original tree log
a
that they filled.
That's a nest.
Really?
Yes, that's their excretion they make.
Oh my God.
Yeah. These are macaws. Macaws are everywhere. They mate for life. They're very beautiful.
Oh, really? Do they?
very hard to
They're
photograph.
parrots, aren't they?
They're kind of parrot.
Yeah.
Again, very endangered. Why? Because they're so beautiful. People
Want them.
want them. They make things out of them. They're caught and killed illegally. They're very beautiful. That's an angelfish.
Oh yeah, I've
They
seen
they
those in aquariums.
right. They skim across the water. On their sides, and they jump in the boat. One day there were like 100 in the boat.
Really?
It was like we had come across an angelfish family, and they just kept jumping in the boat. Yeah, they're too small to eat. They're just cute.
They're nice for an aquarium.
This is another reason you don't touch anything. This is just a tree. I don't know the name of it, but everything has spikes or
Yep.
thorns or, exuding some sort of poison or, I mean, there's a kind of, that's
Oh,
just
this is beautiful. A lizard.
that's a night.
Look at the color.
No idea what any of these things
Okay.
are.
Very pretty though.
Yeah, he was cool. He was about a foot long. This is during a night trip. Oh, that's just a piranha shot.
Yep.
God, it was so easy they just jump.
Now, what is this? A snake?
This is the snake that was in the laundry tent. So we're sort of going back and forth a little bit.
That's all right. I didn't
Yeah.
see it as well before.
Yeah. So,
Oh, that's a big snake.
yeah. I don't know what. Oh, that's a pygmy marmoset. The next shot will be better. These are like the squirrels of the Amazon. This
Oh, look.
this is the smallest monkey in the world. He eats the sap at the trees. He's pretty damn adorable. And he's very twitchy. And he's always turning around and saying, I have some Lupuna shots here because I'm just in love with how beautiful they are.
Now that looks almost a little like the leg tree, except a
Yes.
different. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And everything grows over everything else. But there are no
Pretty roots.
There are no groves of anything really in the jungle, because
Well, are you seeing any? Are they talking about commercial lumbering where are they growing trees specifically for the wood industry? Did you
No, here's the
hear
problem.
anything about that?
the problem with that is they are big oil. Cattle companies are taking this land, cutting these trees down, and using the land for grazing of cows and so on and so forth. The problem, not the problem, but the soil of the Amazon is very thin. It's not good for planting.
So it doesn't do well
it
to
does
plant
not,
trees.
It makes no sense
I got you.
to do this. If people didn't eat so much meat, we wouldn't be cutting down the lungs of the world. 20% of the world's oxygen comes from the Amazon. 60% of the world's fresh water comes from the Amazon.
Oh, really? There's
It's
that
the
much
largest.
fresh
It's
water?
the largest river in the world.
Well, water to me is a very precious resource, but all the more reason we've got to become more active in taking seawater and converting it to
Right.
drinking and natural water.
Right.
Because we're going to reach a point where we're going to have not enough fresh water.
Right.
And,
No, there will be battles over
Yes.
water. So that slide before was, I think it's called an owl butterfly.
Yep.
These insects, there it is again, develop ways of fooling predators so that they are not eaten. We're going to come to another bunch of examples of that toward the end. These were just pictures of these wonderful monkeys.
I love the monkeys.
But they were kind of frightening because they're pretty big,
Yeah.
and they were jumping in the boat, and they wanted bananas, and I ran out.
Look how they
I
learned.
ran
They
out.
learned where the food was.
Okay, this is a Saki monkey. It's a rare monkey. This is the best picture I could get of it. We're going to come to a professional shot in a minute, but I just love that. Look at that. That's a Cecropia tree.
But you're saying, in essence, the wood for furniture and stuff like that is
Well, there are
just-
mahogany. There are mahogany.
Yes.
There is mahogany, but
But you're saying it's not really good
No.
land for growing.
no. If you're going to grow trees, this is not the place. This is the place to find 60,000 plants that have potential for curing cancer, curing AIDS, all kinds of medicines.
I think the medical drug industry does a
They're
lot of
into
research.
it. They're into it. And someday I'm just
Look at this.
I'm screwing around. That was the plan. That was the plan. I was being attacked. I had to do something. That's a hanging vine. These are called epiphytes. They survive without being planted in the earth. They get their nutrients from the air.
They're hanging from a tree, though,
They're
yes?
hanging from a tree.
But not with roots on the
And
tree.
they have no roots in
Really?
the ground. These vines are everywhere. Everywhere.
Now, do they use them to make rope or anything?
They use them to absolutely make rope.
Okay.
Make a bunch of stuff. I don't know what that is. I just thought it was weird
Roots.
as anything. This is called a water vine. Indigenous people do not carry bottles of water in the forest. They know where to go and get water from their world. So I drank from this thing, and I had my doubts, but it tasted delicious.
And he knew what it
and he knew
looked
where
like.
to get it, and he cut it down. And actually, I had forgotten my water that day. And you get thirsty really fast because you're sweating so
Well,
much.
it's hot.
It's beyond hot. I don't know if there's a word for it. That's a tapir track. You can't see it very well. Tapir is an animal that...
This may be an awkward question, and if you don't have an answer, it's fine. Are you finding the young people want to stay in these areas, or are you?
Great
did
question,
you get
yeah.
a sense that they said, "No, I want to live in Lima,
Right.
and I want to be in the big city, and I want to be in that world, not where I am"? Was there any conversation of that?
And when I was interviewing the shaman, that was one of my questions. I
It
said,
was,
you know,
okay.
I said, how did you become a shaman? What is the process? What do you have to go through? And it was this arduous, years-long process of being, you know, learning from his father, who was a shaman, and so on and so forth. And it used to be a huge point of pride to be the shaman in the village. And, you know, I said, what about
Is
your
it
kids?
essentially a witch doctor, a shaman, or is it more than that?
I think witch doctor is a pejorative term, not that you're trying to be that way, but they really do know how to cure things. A witch doctor implies evil. There's a word for it.
Okay. So a shaman is
So an evil shaman, the word for that is brujo or bruja,
Okay.
meaning a bad guy. But these guys, their number one job is to cure people.
So they're
in their-
medicinal doctors.
They use the plants and so on to
Okay,
do that.
I got you.
You can numb pain.
I get you.
You can do all kinds of things. But so anyway, he was saying,
These
well, you
are
know, my grandson,
organic doctors.
my grandson, no, he wants to be in Lima. He wants to.
So the
you know,
question did come
They're
up.
dying out. Yeah, they're dying out.
They
Absolutely.
are. So the young people are saying, I don't want to be a
I don't
shaman.
wanna
I
be-
want to be at Lima General Hospital.
I don't want to spend a year in the jungle alone, which is one of the things you have to do
As to be a shaman.
to be a shaman, and do everything needed to go on this very special cleansing diet, to spend.
See, this is a global issue, is that
It
a lot
is.
of people, being in the food industry,
Another reason you don't touch anything. See
Yep.
that? That's not soft.
when we talk to
This
farmers
is a-
and stuff, they're finding a lot of the young kids, and farming to me is a fabulous industry, but a lot of the young kids don't want to be on the farm.
Yeah, the
So-
world is changing.
Well, it does change.
That's a very large leech. That's a
Oh,
tree
that's a leech.
Yes, it's probably a foot long.
Adventurous, mysterious, amazing, zoological, outstanding nature. The
just like
Amazon.
this T-shirt.
Very good. I like that.
I like this T-shirt. There's so many things coming up out of the water. You're like, is that a plant? Is that an animal? What's happening?
Oh, look at this.
These are
birds.
macaws. Yeah, these are macaws on it. This is
More macaws. Look how pretty.
they're on a clay lick. They crave salt, and so they will go and have at it, especially in the mornings and at night.
Aren't they beautiful?
And this is, I don't know, picture of. Here we coming in after a long day, very tired. You see those paddles are emblematic, those arrow-shaped, beautiful paddles. The water is very thick and chocolatey.
Really?
It's
Okay.
not dirty. It's full of nutrients, microorganisms. This is one of the women who...
The Chatsky shop.
Who's making these beautiful... See, all those colors are from the jungle.
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh, boy.
This is a saki monkey, the rare saki monkey that I took a really bad picture of earlier. But look at that face.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, right?
This is a very unique look at this.
This is a Uakari monkey, very rare. He looks enormous. He's not.
Look how you got to see all these things.
I didn't. Okay, so can we stop a second? Hold on, please.
We're almost out of time. Don't hold them too long.
This is probably photoshopped, but that is an anaconda. They do grow to 40 feet. And
Wow.
they eat anything they can.
What do they do with them? Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, they're an integral part of the Amazon rainforest.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
And this is?
This is a Yamamoto young woman. I did not take this picture. I wanted to give you an example of how some of the indigenous tribes look. That's a harpy eagle. This is the largest eagle in the world.
Really? It
Yes.
looks big.
He was injured.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but okay. I just loved her face. I have a shaman who is a woman in my book, so I needed to look and see how I could imagine my character. This is the first cold food I had after a month, and it was like a little.
Well, Erica, what
And
I'm
it was
going to tell you,
really great.
as we finish up with you eating your Alaska cold fruit, this was a fabulous,
Oh, thank you.
a fabulous photo session.
There's a lot more, but, you know.
Well, we're going to have to bring you
All
back.
right, that sounds good.
You'll come back.
Yeah.
You'll take your next trip, and
That's right.
we'll intertwine whatever we missed
Absolutely.
with your next trip.
Absolutely.
And just thank you. Good
Thank
luck
you
with the
so
sales. Hold
much.
up your
Thank
book
you.
again.
Here's the book.
For everybody, Into the Jungle.
May 28th,
There you go.
wherever books are sold.
Thank you again, and
Thank
it was
you
a
so
pleasure having
much.
you.
I felt like I was back there.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
Thank you.